Hi everyone! Today we will be solving a real world problem using the greedy algorithm. So in this video, me and my teammates will show you how we can apply this algorithm to a very practical situation that many of us can relate to or that many of us know, and this is working as a cashier at a grocery store. So here's the problem. During your free time, you work at the nearby grocery store to help your parents save money and pay your bills, especially now that we are still in the recovery from the post pandemic effects. In the grocery store, you need to work efficiently to avoid long lines at the counter. You are also paid depending on the number of customers you have served for the day. However, cash register box only contains a limited amount of money and will only be refilled once a day. So, for us to be able to cater as many customers as possible, we need to give each customer an exact amount of change if needed with a fewest number of bills and coins. So, to solve this problem, this is where the greedy algorithm comes in. So, what is greedy algorithm? So, a greedy algorithm works by making the best choice at each step. When we have a choice to make the one that looks best right now. Make a locally optimal choice in hope of getting a globally optimal solution. So for our problem, this means that we are always giving the largest possible denomination first when giving change and repeating until the change is complete. So in this tutorial, we'll walk you through how we can apply a greedy algorithm in this problem, how we calculated the change, and how many customers we can potentially serve in a day, all while also earning some cash. So, here is our next presenter, Raymond, to discuss our program.
So, hi, in this part of the video, I will be discussing about the implementation of the greedy algorithm in our code, wherein we want to determine the optimal number of bills and coins to be given as change. So, let's dive here sa ating code. So, we start by importing yung Python's decimal module, which will help us avoid errors that can happen with floating point math. So, we use yung decimal version since it is more clean and precise compared dun sa float. And here, yung get context function para ma-access yung current decimal context, which will provide controls over dun sa precision settings. So, nilagay natin siya, sinet natin siya as 10 since precision is used to set yung desired number of decimal places for mathematical operations dun sa decimal class. So, sinet lang natin siya for 10 decimal values. So, yun. So, dito tayo sa table. So, dun sa problem, nagbigay sila ng set of parang price and yung payment na kailangan na bayaran ng customers. So, ito yung price na need bayaran ng customers pala. So, and this is their payments. So, we created this list of dictionaries, which is the amount needed to be paid yung customers, together with the amount given ng customer to pay for those purchased good. So, itong table na to is galing dun sa problem mismo. So, yun lang naman, ginawa natin siya ng dictionary na nasa list. Next. So, we have this function. So, def, calculate, fuel, change, price to pay, and yung payment. So, proceeding here to our main function. So, this will be the heart of our program. So, it will take two inputs, yung price to pay, or yung price na customers need to pay, and yung payment na they actually made. And this function will return three things. First is yung total change, yung breakdown of the denominations used, and yung total count of bills and coins, which is this. Now, to ensure dito tayo sa loob ng function. To ensure yung precise calculations, we convert the inputs into decimal objects. So, wrapping them first into string to avoid issues when floats are passed in. So, kinonvert lang naman natin yung price and yung paid amount to decimal. So, saan galing yun? Galing yun kanina dito sa transactions. So, mamaya, parang tatawagin to for dun sa loop. So, gagamitin tong function na to mamaya sa loop. So, let's wait until mamaya. We'll explain it later on. So, here, so, bago tayo pala, before we continue, we need to check first if the payment is less than the price. So, if it is, we need to display an error and return these three non-values. So, none, 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 none. So, stopping the function early. But, I think hindi naman to magagamit. But, we included it just in case. So, yun. So, now we calculate yung actual change by subtracting the price from the payment. So, we store it here sa total change. So, and we also copy it in a variable called remaining change, which we will subtract from as we give out change. So, yung paid minus yung price, halimbawa, kanina is nagbigay tayo ng 2,000 pesos yung payment, and yung price is 1,724.75 pesos. So, kung ano yung results niyan, yan yung mapupunta dito sa total change. And yung total change is equivalent dun sa remaining change na magagamit din natin mamaya. So, now, we calculate the actual change by subtracting nga. So, ito na nga yun. So, okay na pala to. Next, as we go down here further sa baba nito, so we will see another list that contains yung lahat ng denominations. Sorted siya from highest to lowest. So, the order is important as this is what makes this a greedy algorithm. So, here naman, we set a dictionary called change breakdown to store how many of each denominations we will use. And we'll initialize this total coins bills to 0 since it will keep track of the total number of items we give as change. So, dito na tayo sa 4. This iterate from largest to slowest denomination since naka-ordered nga yung kanina nilagay natin dun sa denominations na list. So, this one will be the core of our algorithm and we loop through each denomination. So, dito, for denom in denomination. So, this line starts a loop over all of our available denominations from 1,000 all the way to 0.05 cents. So, already sorted na siya in descending order earlier kanina sa code. Now, if remaining is greater than or equal to denom. So, before we use yung denominations, we will check if it's smaller than or equal to dun sa remaining change. For example, we have kanina, yung result nun is yung 275.25. We can start, hindi natin siya pwedeng simulan with 1,000 na sukli. Kasi, hindi naman tayo makakasukli ng 1,000 sa customer if yung sukli niya lang talaga is nasa 275.25 cents. So, we have this to ensure na we skip yung bigger denominations kaysa dun sa sukli. Next, we have discount and remaining change divided by dun sa denominator. So, meron tayo dito floor division. So, we can only get whole numbers. So, once we know the denominations that can be used, we figure out how many times it fits dun sa remaining change. So, since meron tayong 200 na denomination, so 200 na siya. So, although pwede naman na dalawang 100, but we have this greedy algorithm wherein kinukuha niya na agad yung pinakamalaki. So, kaya nga sinort natin siya from biggest to lowest denomination. So, yun. Next, we have this change breakdown float denom is equals to count. So, ito yung nag-store ng result kung ilan ba ang denominations na nagamit. Kung isa lang na 200 pesos o isa lang yung ilalagay niya. Store niya pala. So, yun. Now, remaining change is is equals to remaining change minus count times denominations. So, now we subtract the value we just gave from the remaining change. So, example, we have 200 peso bill. So, yun. So, ilan count ng 200 peso bill? 200 naman ulit. So, times mo siya dito. So, the remaining change would be 75.25. For example lang yun. So, we do this each time so that the next denomination only looks at what's still left to give. So, para hindi na siya maulit-ulit yung 275. So, ima-minus na natin siya kung ilan na lang yung natira ulit. And we'll have this total coins bills plus total coins bills is equals to total coins bills plus count. So we keep track of how many total coins bills we've handed out. This is useful for reporting the efficiency of our change making systems. So, this is it for this part. And ito naman, if remaining change, hindi na naman natin ito magagamit. So, small check lang siya to help us deal with rounding errors. Though, okay naman yung decimals, kasi decimals na yung ginamit natin, hindi na float. So, just in case we couldn't return yung full amount, ito naman, we print a warning. So, yun. Now, moving forward, we'll go to this part naman, where we'll loop through each transactions, run our functions, and we print yung results. So in this part, we will get the price and payment from the list of dictionaries kanina, which is yung transactions. Then we will get the total change, breakdown, and count gamit yung function na calculate fewest change. So magagamit na natin yung function kanina. Then we are ready to print the result. So yung kanina, as said yung kanina, ang ipiprint niya is yung function pala kanina, ipiprint niya is yung total change, yung breakdown ng changes, and yung kung ilan yung bilang ng change. So, here sa part na to, we are going to print the result. So, if hindi none yung results, like hindi greater than, kasi chinek diba natin if greater than yung sukle. So, if hindi none, tama ba? Chinek natin if greater than yung sukle. I mean, yung price pala. Yan. Chinek natin kanina if mas greater than yung price. Kasi hindi ka naman makakasukli kung kulang yung binayan. So, if hindi none yung results, like kanina, we'll have this output. Yung total change and yung change breakdown. Sa change breakdown, we have this piprint niya yung denomination together with yung number of denomination. So, ito, denomination together with the number of denomination. And it will also know if it less than or equal 10, it will be labeled as coin, and else it will be labeled as bill. So if 10 yan, 10 pesos baga coin ng 10 pesos, and if 20 pesos and above, we'll label it as bill. And if more than 1 yung amount niya, dadagdagan na lang natin ng S. So yun, bills or coins, bill or coin. So, lastly, it will print yung overall count ng bills and coins na binigay. And that would be it for this part. And we'll move on to the part na we'll estimate yung daily earnings. So, nilagay din natin siya sa code natin. So, here, let's estimate how much a cashier might earn. So, here in the code, assuming that you can serve one customer every 2 minutes. So, since in the problem, dinifined lang siya as jump pack with no specific amount of customers. So, we will just assume the number of minutes per transaction dun sa customer. So, walang definite time na binigay kung ilan minutes ba ang tinatagal per customer. So, nag-assume lang tayo na 2 minutes. So, in this part of the code, we calculated how many customer we can serve. We multiplied the given 8 hours yung work time to 60 minutes since ang 1 hour is may 60 minutes. So, minultiply natin siya to get the total amount of minutes we work per day. Then, we divided it into the total amount of minutes we serve per customer to get the total number of customers we can have per day. So, 8 times 60. Then, we dinivide din natin siya dun sa total number of minutes per customer, which is 2. And we then multiplied the number of estimated customers to pay to get dun pala sa pay na ibibigay natin na binibigay na mabibigay sa atin per customer. So yung number of customers times 50 pesos. 50 pesos per customer. And we print here yung results. So, we will have Juliet to explain or discuss the part for the output of this program. Thank you.
So, my groupmates have already explained the code behind these calculations. And now, it's time to break down the results. Let's dive into the change calculation for each transaction and see how we estimated the daily earnings. So, first, let's look at how we calculate the change and the fewest coins or bills needed for each transactions. So, transaction 1, Price is 1,724 and 75 cents. Payment is 2,000. Total change is 275 and 25 cents. So let's break down. 1 200 bills, 1 50 bills, 1 20 bills, and 1 5 bills. And lastly, 1 25 coins. Total coins or bill is 5. So instead of giving random coins, the system ensures that the customer gets their change efficiently. Just 5 bills and coins. For transaction 2, the price is 1,652 and 55 cents. The payment they gave is 1,700. Total change will be 47 and 45 cents. Let's break down the bills. So 2 20 bills, 1 5 bills, 2 1 bills, 1 25 coins, and 2 10 coins. So the total coins or bills will be 8. This one is a bit more detailed but still optimized. Only 8 pieces total of bills or coins. For the transaction 3, price is 508 and 15 cents. Payment is 520. The total change will be 11 and 85 pesos. So let's break down. 1 10 bills, 1 bill, and 3 25 coins or 25 cents. Then lastly, 1 10 coins or 10 cents. The total coins or bill will be 6. So for 11 and 85 pesos, we use just 6 coins and bills, keeping it simple and efficient. And for transaction 4, the price is 56 and 45 cents. Payment is 100 pesos. Total change will be 43 and 55 pesos. Let's break down. So 2 20 bills, 3 1 bills, 2 25 coins or 25 cents, and 1 5 cents or coins. So the total coins or bill will be 8 pieces. This one's tricky with 5 cents, but we minimize coins, only 8 pieces total. The last transaction or the transaction 5, the price is 175 pesos and the payment is 200 pesos. Total change will be 25 pesos. So let's break down. 1 20 bills, 1 5 bills, total coins or bill will be 2. The easiest one, just 2 bills, 20 pesos, and 5 pesos. Perfect for quick transaction. Now, let's estimate how much a cashier could earn in a day based on these transactions. So, assumptions. Average time per customer is 2 minutes. Total work time is 8 hours or for 80 minutes. Calculations. So, customer serves for 80 minutes, divide 2 minutes over customers. It will be equal to 240 customers. Estimated earnings will be 240 customers times 50 pesos over customer. It will be equal to 12,000 pesos. But that's 12,000 in a day. Of course, it's just an estimated. Real numbers may vary, but it gives us a good idea of potential earnings. So, there you have it. We broke down the change calculations for smooth transactions and even estimated daily earnings.